I'm dyslexic, I have ADHD, and I gave up on myself. And I sold myself short for 18 years. But luckily, I have my mom. My mom was always fighting for me. My mom was always believing in me. Before I ever believed in myself, she would always encourage me, right? She would always tell me my gifts and my talents. But it took me a long, long time to listen, right? But my mom never gave up. I struggled through school. I had a 1.7 GPA. I was an athlete. I was a wrestler, but I was so insecure about how I felt in the classroom. I never lived up to my true potential of being a good wrestler. So I gave up on a lot of things in my life because of how I felt about myself. And I lived my life like that. And I thought that's just how my life was going to be. I failed out of a private high school that my parents really wanted me to go to. And I just kind of walked my way through high school. I had a 1.7 GPA. I have a twin brother. We applied to colleges all over the East Coast, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, some in Florida. My brother would get in, and I got denied, right? I got denied, he got in. I got denied, he got in, right? He's my twin brother. I'm 5'5", my brother's 5'9", right? I couldn't understand that either. But, I tried, right? I tried to fight for myself a little bit, and every time I saw a roadblock or where I struggled or I didn't see success, right, I would quit and I would just give up. So eventually I was like, you know what? I want to fit in with everyone else and I got to get into college. And I can't walk around high school not saying I got in somewhere. So I wanted just to get in just so I could tell people I got in. I didn't really want to go because I never thought I could make it. Plus, I didn't want to fail out of a school again. But after getting denied from 15 colleges, we were waiting for one more, right? One more. My dad went there. My aunt went there. My uncle donates there, right? My uncle wrote me a recommendation letter. And I'm just waiting to get back from this one school. And I'm looking at the notes, right? We're looking at the letters. And we can't see anything letters from this one school. Every day I'm checking the mail. One day I came home. My dad's tie's all stretched out. He looks at me. He flips me a letter. I look at it. I look at his face. I know it's bad already. And I got the hint at this point, right? Usually if you get a small letter in the mail, it probably means you didn't get in, right? It probably means you did not get in. But I looked at it. And I said, I didn't get in. I opened it up and I said, Dad, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Uncle Jim wrote me a letter. My dad looked at me and said, Jordan, you would not get in with a letter from the President of the United States of America. Go to your room, right? So I went to my room. And it's funny now because I have a good relationship with my dad. But at the time, I was sad. So I went up to my room. I started to cry. And I was wandering around the hallways. It was senior year. No one wanted me. No one wanted to accept me. Everyone was going away to college. I was just kind of wandering around. And the guidance counselor called me into his office. He was like, listen, Jordan, I think we got one more last school in you. Let's just apply. It's a reach, right? It's worth a chance, Jordan. Let's just apply. And I was like, whatever, I'll apply. I'll do it, right? So we did it. We filled out the app. I sent it in. And I waited, right? And it was one day left before graduation. One day left. And as I'm waiting for this return envelope, my mom drives to the college. It was a small school in New Jersey, Hackensack, called Centenary College. Now it's Centenary University. Small school. My mom drives there. She gets the admissions office and she begs them. They're like, Mrs. Toma, we don't even have his application yet. We don't know who you are, who your son is. Finally, they get the application, and there was a program there called the Step Ahead program. And that program helps you acclimate into college, right? But when you have a learning disability or when you're struggling in school, you have to go to this program to get accepted to the college. But they only select a certain amount of people, right? And my mom knew that. And on paper, I was very bad, right? I got in a lot of trouble. I had very low scores, SAT scores. All my IQ tests were extremely low, right? There was no hope for me on paper. So they looked at my mom and said, Mrs. Toma, on paper, we don't accept kids like that, right? We can't accept him. My mom said, listen, you got to accept him. You got to give him a chance. She begged him and begged him. She went to every office. My mom's relentless, right? And that's where I get some of my gifts from her, right? Because she is so relentless. And she was so relentless on me going into this new school, clean slate, new opportunities, right? She knew I would find myself under distress, right? She knew I was going to be under distress. She knew my back was going to be against the wall, right? But she knew and she believed and she had faith that when my back was against the wall, right, that's when the magic was going to happen. Because there was two options at that point, right? I could have ran like I always did. I could have gave up like I always did, or I could have changed my life. And my mom took that bet, right? She betted on me because she believed in me. And by her betting on me and believing in me, I slowly started to believe in myself. I slowly started to fight for myself. I started to work hard. I started to find myself. I started to figure out who I was through putting in the hard work, right? And I started to build this foundation of success. I was accepted to the school. I graduated that program with a 4.0. I ended up graduating college with a 3.3 GPA. I ended up getting into grad school, right? I got denied from every single school. I got into grad school because I wanted to help kids like me, right? Help kids that struggle like me, but I ended up not doing that. I didn't know what to do with my life, but I had this self-belief. I had this foundation of success. I had like this motivation where like, if I can do this, if I could just get through school, right? My whole life, I've never been able to get through school. I just did it. And I went to the library all night long. I rewrote my notes every single day. I would stay up all night just studying, reviewing my note cards. I would drive home an hour just so my mom can reread me my note cards. I did everything just to get that 3.3, right? And it wasn't the grades that I got. It was who I became to get those grades. And I started to figure out who I was and what I was made of and what my gifts were, right? And how I learned and how if you're the hardest worker in the room, right? And you believe in yourself, there's really nothing you can't do. So I got a job right out of college. I was like, listen, if I'm not gonna go to school, right, to go help kids, I gotta go figure out how to help myself. And I got this motivation, I got this belief that I could do anything, right? I'm doing this. So I get a job, I'm selling windows door to door. I had no idea what I was applying for. They said, listen, Jordan, all you gotta do is wear a polo shirt, some golf shorts, and ring some doorbells. We'll give you a clipboard on where to go on the map, right? You just gotta sell windows. I'm like, that's it? I just gotta sell the window appointment at door to door. No tests, no homework, right? No papers, no math, no statistics, nothing, right? That's all I gotta do. He's like, yeah, that's it, dude. I'm like, all right, I got this. I can do this. I walked in the room that day. There was about 70 guys all sitting there, all dudes. And we're all sitting there. I looked at every single one of them. I said, none of these people have a chance. Nobody here has a chance. I worked way too hard, right? I studied way too hard, right? And that was hard. This is not hard. I'm going to outwork everybody. My first day on the job, I sold the most window appointments in the company. For the first 6 months, I was the number one guy every single day. And I noticed something. Everyone would walk to the door, right? As soon as I would hop out the van, I would run to the door. And I would run, and I would run, and I would run, and I would run. I said, listen, if you do 5 doors, I'll do 20 doors. If you do 10 doors, I'll do 50 doors, right? I knew the more doors I got in front of, the more windows I was going to sell. And the better that I got, right? And the more confident I got. And every time I saw a no, I knew there was going to be a yes. And I never gave up. And then I got to a point where I was so good where I would hit our goal before lunchtime, and then I would give away leads just to help people because I was living at home and I had people that were working with me that had families and kids at the time. I was only 21 years old, 22 years old, and I had 35-year-olds, 4-year-olds trying to make money for their kids. So I would make like 5, 6 sales and I'd give the rest of my sales, and then I would work till 8 o'clock at night just to give all my sales to the guys that really needed it. So I did that for 6 months, but it was time to change my life. And my dad's been in the financial service business for a long time. He's like, Jordan, listen, if you could sell windows, you could sell life insurance. I think you can make a lot more money. I said, all right, because you got to pass all these tests, right? And that wasn't really what I wanted to hear. I just wanted to sell. But sometimes you got to do things in your life that you don't want to do to get to the point to what you want to do, right? And I knew that. And the old Jordan at this point would have ran away. But the new Jordan was like, all right, I'm going to pass all these tests. I'm going to do this. So I started to study, and I slowly started to pass these tests. Slowly. It took me a year. But I got to this one test, the Series 65, and this test was so hard for me, and I studied for 1 full year. I failed 11,000 practice tests. I locked myself in my room. I rewrote the book 100 times. When I drove in my car, I put the CD in, I just listened to the book. When I got in the shower, I put the CD in, I listened to the book. When I went to bed, I listened to the book. I slept with the book. I put the book under my pillow. I did everything, right, to pass this test. I went in November, right before Thanksgiving. I took the test, and I failed by 1 point. I drove home that day, and I cried the entire way home. I cried. And the way the Series 65 works, if you fail it once, you got to wait 30 days to take it again. I went to bed. I woke up. I took a 250-question quiz that morning the next day and failed it. And I just kept rewriting the questions that I got wrong. Then I would write all the questions I got wrong in red and write all the questions that I got right in green, right? And then I would do that back and forth, back and forth. Then I would only study the red, then I'd restudy the green. Then I'd only study the red, then I'd restudy the green. And I did this over and over and over again. Finally, almost after 30 days, I signed myself up for a cram course in New York City on Wall Street. And I walked in there, everyone was in there. Everyone was like these super smart guys. When I came in, I was like, listen, I failed that test. By 1 point, I'm passing it this time. No way, I'm not failing. I'm not passing. I'm not failing this test ever again. I'm getting through this. I go to that cram course. I go to bed Christmas Eve, right? I schedule my test at 10 a.m. 10 a.m., right? I get there at 7 because I can't sleep and I got to take this test or I'm going to forget it. I get there at 10 a.m. The guy's standing there. He's looking at me. He's like, Jordan, your test was at 10. You're here at 7. I'm like, dude, just let me in now or I'm going to forget everything. He's like, dude, I can't. I said, dude, look at me. I need to go in and take this test. He's like, all right, man, you can go in, go in. So I go in, start taking the test, and I had to talk myself up. I said, Jordan, you worked for it. You did it. I had to will myself to pass this test. I had to convince myself that I did everything I could to pass this test. I started taking the test. And I'm taking. I'm starting to get nervous because nothing I remember studying is on this test. But I'm answering the questions. Finally, I'm halfway through and I'm really nervous. And I go up and I go to the bathroom, right? But you can't just leave. They got to pat you down, make sure you're not cheating, right? So they pat me down. I go to the bathroom, throw water on my face. And I said, Jordan, you got this. I go back into the test. I don't change any of my answer. Answer all the questions. Boom, 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 boom. Do you want to take a survey? No, give me the answer. Boom. I got a 72 on the nose, right? You need 94 right. I got 94 right on the nose. I put my arms in the air like this. The lady came over. She's like, sir, are you all right? I'm like, I passed. Right, I passed. I got in the car. I called my dad. I said, Dad, I got a 72. I got 94 right on the nose. My dad's like, Jordan, get out of there before they change it on you. Right, and I got out of there. The day after, I saved up all my money. I took $100,000 that I saved because I was selling insurance prior to the Series 65, and I wrote a check for $100K, and I bought an insurance practice that this woman was retiring from. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just wrote her a check and I paid her off.